Welcome back for part 2 of the easy beginner crochet slippers. So the first video we made our foot or toe portion of the slipper. So now we're going to finish off and complete the slipper with the rest of it. Instead of working in the round now, we're actually just going to be working across. So what we need to start with first is we're going to start where that chain 3 is, where we ended off there. So we did a slip stitch, but that first stitch was a chain 3. You can kind of tell like where our seam is here. It has a little bit more of a gap. So we want to start from there, and then we're going to work backwards from our first stitch beside it. And it kind of varies. Like this is, so here's the completed one here, just so I can kind of show you. So where you place this stitch that we're going to do, it kind of is a personal preference again as to how high up you want it up on your foot. If you want it just more around the bottom of your foot, or if you'd like it up a little bit higher on the top of your foot. So you would do less stitches than what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to go, this one I went back 9 stitches. I did try 10 before and that was too much. I could probably get away with going with 8 and it would still be just as comfortable. Okay, so we're going to count back 9 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So on that 9th stitch, sorry, I should have, to get a, I'm going to do it this way by putting a slip knot on my hook. I'm just going to pull it through there, and then I'm just going to take this and do a slip stitch so that we are connected to that. So now that we have that in there, we are going to chain 2. We're going to do into the same stitch that we just did that slip stitch into. We're going to do a double crochet. And we do now have this tail that we just started there. I usually just like to incorporate it into these stitches here, but you don't have to do that. You can just leave it out and then weave in the ends afterwards. But now what we're going to do is we've done 1 double crochet, so we want to do 9. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. So the reason that I wanted to stop there is because now we need to do the same thing to the other side. So we want to go on the other side of that chain stitch there, and we're going to start right here. And we're going to just do 9 more double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So now we're going to have a total of 18 stitches. Now if you chose to do less stitches, so if you only did 8 on each side, then you're going to have a total of 16 stitches. So that's going to be the difference there depending on where you wanted to place that. So like I said, again, it's just preference. That's going to be the top part. This little opening here is the top part of your foot. So it just kind of depends on how high up on the top of your foot do you want that. Okay, so now that we've completed that, what we need to do now is, and I'll put the text in the video as well, how many rows you would do depending on the size that you're working on. But again, it kind of, it varies. It could be different for your foot. So again, the best way is just to measure along your foot. When you're finished these next rows we're going to do, it should come just before the end of your heel, because in the last few rows we'll add a little bit more length, which is going to end up being the portion that will wrap around your heel. So you don't want to go past your heel in these next rows that we're doing, because then the extra that we add on, it'll probably end up being too loose. Okay, so for me, what I need to do now is, so that was our row 8. So I need to go to row 17. So I need to do like 7 rows of double crochet, just going across back and forth on this block here. So I'll do this first row just so you know what I mean. So we're just going to chain 2. And then we're going to turn our work, and we're going to yarn over, and we're going to do double crochet, and we're just going to do the double crochet in each stitch across. Okay, just one more stitch here and get in there. Okay, and there, so you can see it's kind of building up that bottom part of the of your slipper. So now I need to do 6 more rows just like that. So I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to pause this video because I don't think you guys want to watch me do 6 more rows of just doing a straight double crochet back and forth, just following that same step that I just did. So if you need to see that again, you can just go back and rewind the video a bit. But like I said, you're just going back and forth for the next however many rows you need to do for the size that you want. Again, always just check with your foot, see if it's, if it's not all the way at the end of your heel, but just to the kind of the end of it. Okay, so I will be back in a minute. All right, so we are back to complete the rest of the slipper. So now, as you can see here, we have our bottom portion of our slipper. So we really only need to do a couple more rows. You will notice in the pattern, if you're following along with it as well, that there's like an additional 2 rows that they do. I have skipped those because I found that it made the slipper way too long in the back. so then it didn't even fit on my foot. I guess this would probably be the good time to talk about tension, so it could have something to do with that. Tension could factor in when you're making your slipper, and what I mean by tension is how tight you hold your yarn when you're crocheting. I'm not an expert on trying to teach tension by any means. You've probably noticed how I hold my string sometimes, where it's like wrapped around my fingers. So that again helps with your tension. I do find that when I do double crochet that I have a looser tension. I think it's just because the stitch is a little bit bigger. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of seems natural to me to just kind of have this looser tension. It also could, the string, the type of yarn you're using could factor in. The weight of it or the thickness could play a part in your tension. So I do find that this string has a bit of give to it. When I'm crocheting with cotton, because it's a much, I guess, tighter or more kind of rougher yarn, I guess, that I feel that my tension is a lot tighter with cotton yarn. Also, when I'm making stuffed toys, you do stuffed toys a lot with just using single crochet. So I do find, because when you're making stuffed toys, you're going to end up literally stuffing them with some polyester fill. So you want your tension to be tight when you're making your stitches, because you don't want too much gap, because you wouldn't use double crochet, because then you would just see the stuffing through these holes. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to mention that as well, and that could be why the person that wrote the pattern had a couple extra rows, because maybe her tension is a lot tighter, or maybe the people that were testing her pattern, their tension was tighter. Again, I'm not an expert when it comes to your tension, and it just kind of, and I'm not going to say that it's not important, because it is. So it's just kind of something that you have to figure out on your own, and how you hold your string. And I think too that, when I'm going along and I'm trying to do a tutorial, I feel that for me to have a looser tension, it's easier to kind of, show the stitch rather than doing like a tighter one. But yeah, so I just thought I would mention that as well. The tension could play a factor in the sizing of your slipper. So don't be discouraged by that. If it just means that you need to maybe do less rows, or maybe you need to go down a size and hook. I mean, I honestly think that I could probably go down another size to a 4.5 and make the same slipper, and it would probably still fit me okay. I do find that this one's a tad loose. So yeah, I do think that, I mean, I guess the other option is that I could I could tighten my tension, I guess, to make, the stitches a little tighter, which would probably make it a little bit more snug. And that's kind of what slippers are intended to be. But I felt because I think the pattern actually says to use a 4mm, and I tried that, and I was like, that's not going to fit on my foot, and it probably wouldn't have, but I probably could get away with a 4.5mm. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to mention that. I'm just trying to help you in any way that I can, and just give you different reasonings, that could be going on with why it's not, working out for you, or why it's too big, or maybe it's too small. But again, tension could also play a factor in that, and just the size of hook and the type of yarn that you're using. And I guess the other part to that is, whenever you need to make duplicates of the same thing, you need to make sure that you're using the same kind of tension that you're using with the first one. So I've mentioned this now, so when you go to make your second one, don't try to like change your tension to make it tighter, because then they're not going to be the same size. They'll be a little out of proportion. But again, I guess that's a good way to show you what, having a different or a tighter tension does, or a looser tension does, if that's the case. But yeah, so I think I've probably talked about that long enough. So we only have a couple more rows to do here. So we're just gonna, so I did I went up to row 17. So now I'm going to chain 2, and then we are going to double crochet 2 together. So we're going to yarn over, insert a hook into the first stitch, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then we're going to yarn over again and go through the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then pull through the last 3. And then we're going to just do a double crochet all the way across until we get to the last 2 stitches, and then we will do a double crochet together on those 2. Okay, so just a few more stitches until we get to the end here. Okay, so we're down to the last 2 stitches. So we are going to double crochet together, yarn over, insert our hook, but we're just going to pull through 2 loops, and then we're going to yarn over again and insert into the last stitch, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We have 3 left on our hook, and then we're just going to pull through all 3. All right, so that is that row done. So now we're going to chain 2. So with this one, we're going to actually do 3 double crochets together. So we're going to do at the beginning, at the end, and in the middle. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook. Oh, whoops, I'm supposed to be doing 2 together, see? What happens when you just are excited about doing double crochets. Okay, so yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over and pull through 2. We're going to yarn over and go back into the next chain, or next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, and then pull through 3. And then we're just going to do a few more stitches here until it looks like we're about in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to do so that looks to be about the middle now, so I'm going to do 2 double crochets together. So yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and then we're going to go through 2, yarn over, and then go through 3. And then we'll just do a few more stitches until we get to the last 2, and then we're going to double crochet them together. Okay, got ahead of myself there. Alright, so we're going to double crochet our last 2 stitches together. So again, yarn over, insert, and no. I got looking at my camera to make sure that it was focusing okay, and then I got distracted. So yarn over, pull through 2, don't complete it like I just did. We're going to yarn over, go through the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3. So that pretty much completes the bottom portion of our, well, I mean, this is also going to be our heel too. So what you need to do now is you just lay it down. So I just got to get into frame here. And just from the middle on the inside, you're just going to pick this up. Okay, and then you're going to bring your seams together like that. Okay. I'm just going to leave it like that. Sorry, I just went blurry there. Okay, so for me, left-handed, so I have it the right way. So I just gotta, sorry if this looks really awkward. It kind of always feels awkward to me to do this, but so now we're just gonna basically do a slip stitch through these stitches here. So you kind of want to just pick that corner spot there. So this one here, where you can tell that it's a stitch. And then I usually go into that one that we were just in. And we're just going to slip stitch. Sometimes that happens. Oh no. Well, this is a lesson on what happens if... So now I gotta double crochet those 2 stitches together, because that just unraveled on me. All right, let's try this again. So we're going to pick this up, bring our seams together. Okay, whoops. So we're just going to kind of come around. So this part, oh no, not again. This part will actually get tucked back inside, so the seam will be inside the slipper. So right now it looks like it's going to be on the outside, but it won't be. And then we're just going to insert. And we're just doing a slip stitch. So again, we're just going to do the same thing into the next stitch there. So we're just going to come in through here. So we're through that stitch. And now we're going to go through that. So we should have those 2 stitches on our hook, plus the one that was already there. And then we just pull through. Just a quick little slip stitch is all we need to do for this to seal that up. Okay, and then I'm just going to do one more here. And there. That is going to close up our slipper. So we just need to... So my suggestion when you do this is I would leave a really long tail. Just, you know, quite a bit of excess yarn, because if you want to do a border around with using the same color, then you'll need quite a bit of extra string just to make it all around. But if not, then you just got to pull that through. But if you choose to do like a different color, then you of course would just cut it, cut a shorter tail, and then just weave your ends in and out. But with this one, I just went around with a single crochet, just all the way around the top, just to kind of, you know, give it a little more uniform look with this part here. But yeah, so then what? So now we can fold this back in. Oh no, I already did that. So yeah, so see that seam part is now just inside the slipper, so you don't see it on the outside. But yeah, so now what I'm going to do, I've probably made this way too long, but so I'm just going to get my needle. So you would do this anyways if you were not going to use the same color. If you wanted to use a different color, then you would just need to attach, slip stitch a different color to any stitch. You can start anywhere, it doesn't really matter. But I don't want to have a big loose string right there, so I'm just going to kind of weave this back and forth so I can bring that up to the top. Like I said, I probably did way... Too much string. Okay. So for this part of the video, I put my headphones on. So you can probably hear me breathing a lot, but hopefully it's better than that feedback noise. There was this like buzzing sound and I don't know where it's coming from. I had my laptop, I noticed it in part 1 too, but I had my laptop turned on beside me because I needed it in part 1 to follow the pattern. Part 2 I didn't really need it so much, but I still had it on anyways. And when I was doing the playback, I heard that noise again and I was like, what is it? So I thought it was my laptop. So I turned it off and then did a little test video and it was still making that sound. So I plugged in my headphones. I've done a video like this before with my headphones plugged in. And I did that, listened to the playback, and there wasn't that buzzing sound. So that's why, I don't know, you can probably, I find that with the headphones, because it's so close to my mouth, that and it just focuses right on this one area, that you can probably hear me breathing. So, and I do have like allergies and stuff like that, so I find I can't, anyways, I'm probably giving you way too much information. You just want me to finish this slipper. That's just me rambling. You guys should know that by now. You guys will know all about me. You know, it's about having that personal connection as well, right? If anybody heard all that, drop a comment on the post for this video, letting me know that you're aware of my allergies, and then I'll know that you watched the video and heard me talk about it. I'm just kidding. Anyways, let's just finish the border on this slipper. All right. So, I mean, working on this edge here is, can be a little tricky, or it's personal preference again. Sorry, I'm not even in the frame. But I just kind of go where it feels natural into just different spaces and trying to keep it consistent, I guess, enough space in between. So I just start anywhere really and just find a hole, and then I come through and just pull up a loop. And then I'm just going to go probably into this next space there. And then I'm just going to start doing a single crochet. And you would just do this all the way along. So that actually might be, those might be a little too spaced together. Yeah, it just, you can kind of feel for it, I guess, where you should go. I mean, it's just whatever you think looks better. I mean, if you go closer together like I did in those first 2 stitches, it won't really look uniform with these ones here, because see how they're a little bit bigger. So, I don't know, just kind of try to go with what feels, natural. If you want to get really fancy, you can do different kind of borders if you wanted to. It doesn't have to just be the single crochet. You could go around again with a single crochet. But I mean, some people do different stitches to kind of give a little bit more of a curve going around. But yeah, so you just keep doing that all the way around your slipper until you get to the end. Just try to maybe come up closer here and slow down maybe so that you guys can see just kind of where I want to do a double crochet, because when you do, that's the hard thing. When you do one stitch repeatedly and then you go to do a different stitch, you're still stuck on that one. But yeah, I'm just kind of just gauging. I mean, I don't want them too close together. I don't want them too far apart. And you just kind of look for that opening. And I mean, someone might explain this differently than how I'm doing it, but so now this part's easy because that's part of our slipper already. So we know that we can just go into that. But yeah, so you just finish it off. Go all the way around with your border if you want. You can use a different color. See, I'm doing a double crochet. Yeah, you can just use a different color to go around with, which might give it a different look. Well, I guess it will, but yeah, like a contrasting color would be kind of neat. I think that's what they did in the pattern of the picture that I showed. I think the slipper portion was like a multicolor of like different pinks, and then they did like a yellow border, which looked kind of nice, and then I went with the yellow flower. So the picture or the pattern that I kind of, did this pattern from also incorporated a little strap. I wasn't going to do that in this video, but I mean, by all means, she has the instructions in the pattern if you choose to add a strap to your slipper. Yeah, it's just personal preference. There was also a flower on the slipper. I am going to do a video on maybe a couple different types of flowers that you could use. Just because they're kind of fun to make, but I'll just make it like a separate video. And it won't be I don't think it'll be a very long video. But this is what happens when you do like a big project like this. And even this isn't even big. Like, I mean, if you were just to sit down and do this on your own, this wouldn't take hardly any time at all. It's pretty straightforward. So, I mean, you could finish, probably a pair of slippers in, 2 to 4 hours. So, I mean, within a day, you could, you've just in between whatever else you have going on during the day, if you just took a break and crocheted for 15 minutes, you could probably have, your slippers done. So, but to do a video on it, it's, it's a lot of time. So that's why, I was hoping to get this out a lot sooner for you guys, but it's a lot with the editing. And I don't have a lot of editing. I don't cut stuff out, as you can tell, because you hear me ramble. And I mean, I could technically cut all that stuff out, but I don't. I leave it in here. I don't know, maybe I make you laugh. It's, all in the fun of what we're doing here. So, but yeah, so I think I'm going to end it there. I've gone all the way around. So now I have a border, and then I'm just going to pull that through and then just weave in the ends like I've shown you before. And I think we might have another end down here maybe where we attached. I did incorporate it in, so we might, oh yeah, so we'll need to weave that in as well, just to secure it in place. That's just where we started when we attached to work on the bottom part of the slipper. But yeah, so there you have it. There is the slippers. I would demonstrate them on my feet, but that's a little kind of scary. I need to do my nails, paint them, and my feet are dry. And anyways, again, way too much information, but I do hope that you enjoyed the video and that you were able to follow along. If there's any videos that you would like to see, any patterns, please let me know. I definitely enjoy doing this. Getting requests is amazing. And even just, connecting with people that, have been crocheting for a long time, and even they're enjoying my videos or my posts that I have going on. But yeah, so again, I don't want to keep talking, but I do enjoy this, and I love that you guys are watching my videos and interacting with me. It is really a great feeling. And I mean, I think we all need that positivity right now with what's going on in the world. So yeah, this is fun. Enjoy the video, enjoy your slippers, and stay tuned for the next one.